Welcome, thank you for coming out this evening, April 17th workshop of the Philipstown Town Board. So we're going to switch things up a little bit. Max is here to do just discuss this presentation or this contract or proposal with Walden Environmental Engineering to get us compliant with the MS4 stormwater management programs for New York State. So Max, you want to just come on up and just give us a brief synopsis of what it actually is and what Walden will be providing for us?
So as you're aware, or maybe not, the town is currently enrolled in the new Speedies Stormwater MS4 permit that was initiated this year by the New York State DEC. And basically the contract that you reviewed the price proposal for is to bring us up to the major administrative deadlines and bring the town into compliance by providing it a framework, essentially, that the town's employees can then plug into and sustain during the life expectancy of the Speedies permit, the DEC permit. So the major item that's listed on the cost proposal in front of you is the Stormwater Management Program Plan, which is a core component of the MS4 Speedies permit. The town currently has an old, outdated plan that needs to be brought up to standard. And so this firm, which has done this before in other communities, will basically provide us that plan. They'll draft it for us. We can review it as a group. The Conservation Board can take a look at it. Our MS4 committee, our SWAG committee, will review it. And then that can be accepted by July, which is the first administrative deadline with this permit. So that's the main component of that. There's another component that lays out all of the administrative requirements in a timeline format, which will help us stay on track into the future. In terms of what metrics that we're going to need to be meeting by certain dates that the DEC's permit lays out. The final component, and obviously you can see there's a few more things listed on there that they didn't provide prices for, but the final component would be an educational program that we could call upon, I think, at any time. They would be able to provide us an educational service to meet some of our the DEC's items, essentially, for education on an annual basis, if we deemed that necessary. So that's kind of in short.
So I met with you and with Walden on a Zoom call the other day, and just to get the board up to speed, this is a one-time expense. The bulk of it is a one-time expense. Right. It's to get us compliant. Then it would create basically check boxes for you guys, you and the SWAG committee, to follow this program for years to come. So it's not going to be an annual fee that we're going to have to tackle or absorb. No. Yeah. I mean, I support it. I wish there was some state funding to go along with their requirements, but this is something that we have to be compliant with. We don't really have an option. The B budget is solid. We will be able to pay for it. It's not
About $10,500 roughly?
Yes.
If we add these numbers up correctly? This one, I think it's 900, the bottom one.
Yeah.
Well, the $900, the training, we're not sure about whether we're going to utilize that or not.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah,
So-
the 900, that's essentially, like John was probably about to say, that's essentially for a service if we call upon it. That's something that doesn't necessarily need to be paid for right now.
Probably wouldn't hurt to have the training
Yeah.
and get, now who would, I mean, I guess it would be the Conservation Board, yourself, some of the highway crew?
It would be highway. I think what we would do would be we'd set it up. We'd want to take advantage of being able to attain a larger audience. We'd obviously want our municipal staff to be trained that deal with these types of things, like so specifically highway department. Yeah. But we could open it up to even have the public sit in on something if they wanted to be, and at least just to give us credit for that. Right. That's totally in the realm of what would add more points to our program for sure. It's really up to us. The other thing that cost might cover is we can have them potentially design an educational program that they train a few people to give every year, and then I can just walk up to the highway department and give a PowerPoint, or someone else can, whomever is they designate, So there's nothing in the permit that would prevent us from doing that. So it's really just trying to attain these pieces that we don't have that we can distribute, to the necessary parties,
Okay.
The grant writing assistance, is that something that's an option that could be added later? if
Yeah.
we-
I think I got the impression on the call that they were really trying to work, holistically with us. They're not looking to really rake us anyone over the coals here. So I think that if they did find grant opportunities, that's something they do for New Paltz. So I think for them too, I think they can pay themselves out of a grant that is awarded, so, there's some interest there as well.
Beneficial to them as well.
Yeah.
Any other question? I mean, it's something that we
Has to be done, so.
really don't have an option, and
and
we don't want to
$900 of
leave
training
you
is
out
really
there hanging. We
nothing.
need to support you with the information that you need, so. All right, so can I get a motion to adopt the program from Walden Environmental Engineering PLLC for MS4 Stormwater Management Program to assist the town in complying with the new MS4 general permit at the rates noted in the work order request, and authorize for me to sign it? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? And I vote aye. Thank you, Max.
All right, I'll
Appreciate
follow up with
everything.
them. Thanks.
All right, Max, thanks for everything else you do.
The number one on the agenda, the resolution for Semco. So I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to look through this. I just had a conversation with Cody on my way here. I wish I had more time to discuss this with him. I have no idea what the program will cost us, so I'm going to suggest that we just table this at the
Table this.
moment. Yeah, there is no haste. He told me there's no reason to rush it through. It kind of seemed to me when he first sent us the email that if we don't get on board right now, that they're going to get overwhelmed and not have the ability to do everybody's systems before the cutoff date, which I believe is July. I spoke to him, he assured me that that's not the case. Our system is very small,
And
and
it's just, this is the Garrison Ward District only,
Garrison
right?
Landing, and the amount of pipes that we've replaced in the past 2 days certainly will help our quantity of, it's just all plastic, it will help us with any of the lead issues.
Shouldn't be any
that-
lead.
Yeah, there's not much lead left down there, so. So I'm going to suggest that we just, I encourage you all to look through this program and just become familiar with it, and we can discuss it at next month's meeting, after I have some more time to dig into it with Cody from Semco and get his, he probably can't give us a set price because he's not 100% sure how much lead pipe or metal pipe is even in the ground. So I really want to dig into that a little more before we adopt anything with them. So, and he was absolutely fine with that, so. Can I get a motion to table item number 1 for the Semco Water and Wastewater Specialist?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? And I vote aye. The next thing on the agenda is something that's very exciting and I'm really proud about. This is the resolution for the Daverin Farm, the license agreement. We have a letter in support from OSI. We have, they've done a survey, which has been submitted. We also have a certificate of insurance.
Did the rec commission send a resolution or anything? They
No,
discussed
I
it at their
spoke-
meeting.
I spoke with several of them.
Yes,
I
they
have not.
mentioned that at the meeting. They wanted
Yeah.
to send a resolution.
Yes, please. But I did speak with several of them, and there was no opposition to it. Claudio was present when we met with Peter. If you notice, they did stake out 1 square acre, not square, it's a rectangle, but it's an acre, 40,000 square feet, and it comes pretty far into where the Depot Theater building will be. This is only for this year. Once we get that road removed, we could square it up and move the property further down. But they did, once I had the license agreement, Peter went in, or the certificate of insurance, Peter went in and actually mowed it right down to, and next up is the tilling, so, and then the planting, so.
You said something that if we wanted the area where the farm, or the plants used to, the garden used to be, he says he'd be more than happy to clean that up if we wanted him to.
Well, I did get a letter from New Leaf as well, so I have not discussed any of that with them yet, but they do support this as well, so I'm not concerned, so. Tara, would you like to read the resolution?
Sure, you were on a roll, I was just gonna let you keep going.
We're not used to having you here for a
Listen, I
workshop.
haven't said a thing yet. So this is a resolution approving the Daverin Farm license agreement. Whereas the town of Philipstown owns certain real property located at 982 Route 9D, Garrison, New York, 10524, hereinafter the property. And whereas Daverin Farm LLC has offered to dedicate to the town the service of undertaking farming activities on a portion of the property for the purpose of donating all of the resulting produce to local public food pantries. And whereas the town and its residents will be benefited by the proposed dedication of services in raising produce for free consumption at local food pantries, and whereas the property is subject to a conservation easement held by the Open Space Institute, OSI, and OSI has approved the proposal for farming of the property, at least to the extent of allowing planting of sweet potatoes, and whereas the town is willing to accept the offer of dedication of services and consent to the proposed use of the property on the terms and conditions set forth in the revocable license attached hereto. Now, therefore, be it resolved as follows. 1, that the town board hereby approves the license agreement attached hereto, and 2, that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute the said license agreement, and 3, that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to make revisions to the said license agreement to correct any typographical errors or to make non-substantive semantical changes without further approval of the town board should the need to do so arise.
Okay, can I get a motion for the above read resolution?
So moved.
Second,
Second,
Roll call vote.
Yep.
Roll call vote.
Councilwoman Farrell,
I vote aye.
Councilman Angel,
So happy to vote aye.
Councilman Flaherty.
Aye.
Megan's not here, and I emphatically vote aye. This just goes to show what this town is capable of if there is a good need, and this community should be proud of the Daverins for what they do for the community, and we should all be proud of the fact that we got this turned around so quickly and that this is going to happen. They needed to get the plants in by, I think, June 1 or May 1, I forget what they said, but June 1, yeah. But I'm super excited that this is happening, and I hope we can extend it next year and maybe give it more property and just get more free vegetables for the needy, so thank you.
I'm very
Thank you.
pleased the way OSI moved very quickly on this, which was a good thing for everybody involved, so appreciate everything they did there as well.
Thank you.
I would just say, I mean, you said it, John, but what a great use of town land, and the fact that, you know, we have these good neighbors and other groups building this local food system, food being grown for people in our community that don't have enough of it on town land. It's awesome. It's really awesome.
And
Yeah.
enough to share with the surrounding community.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
What do you say, they're gonna have, I don't know, 15 tons of,
15, it'll produce 15,000 pounds.
15,000 pounds,
Yeah.
that's what it
15,000
Yeah.
pounds. That's a lot of
Yeah.
sweet
Yeah.
potatoes. They said each one weighs about a pound, so,
That's a meal.
Oh, so that's like 7 tons.
yeah.
We're gonna get a lot of sweet potato recipes. We have a lot
Well,
of
they
different-
chose sweet potato because of the amount of nutrients that are in a sweet potato.
Definitely. It stores a long
good
time.
for
Yeah.
And they're tasty, with a little butter.
And they're tasty.
How often do you eat them, though?
Oh, I love-
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, no, I eat them.
No, I eat it more
I
than.
love
My
them.
wife likes them too, so.
All right, next up.
Next is a resolution adopting the evaluation of financial alternatives form on the purchase of trucks for the town highway department, and this is a roll call vote. I apologize, this was added very late this afternoon.
All right, do you want to read the reso, or you?
Sure.
Go.
So this is, again, a resolution adopting the evaluation of financial alternatives form on the purchase of trucks for the town highway department. Whereas the town of Philipstown Highway Department wishes to purchase a Ram 2500 reg cab truck and a 2024 Ram 5500 truck, hereinafter the trucks, off of a public bid contract, and whereas the town board has investigated the cost of borrowing the funds for purchase of the trucks as an alternative to the proposed installment purchase agreement, and further, the town has completed an evaluation of financing alternatives, EFA form, a copy of which is attached hereto, and whereas the town board has determined that the borrowing of funds for the purchase of the trucks does not offer any advantages over the proposed installment purchase agreement, and whereas the town board finds that the proposed installment purchase agreement with M&T Bank complies with the requirements of General Municipal Law, Chapter 109-B. Now, therefore, be it resolved as follows: that the town board hereby determines and finds that the execution and delivery of the proposed installment purchase agreement with M&T Bank is in the best financial interests of the town, based on due consideration of the other available acquisition and financing alternatives as set forth in the EFA form, and on other administrative and management considerations with respect to the acquisition of the trucks, and that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute the said installment purchase agreement and such other and further documents as may be necessary to carry out the terms of the terms and conditions thereof. Bless you.
Can I get a motion on the prior resolution?
Can I just, do you mind just explaining, I was just explaining this a bit, so just because I feel like I haven't seen something like this, because we know we budget for it, and then they just make their purchase. So the highway department's buying 2 trucks, and they're just looking at the difference in cost from if they lease them versus if they took out a loan to buy them.
Bought it, correct.
And the lease is just cheaper?
Yes.
Got you, okay, thank you.
Yes, they did their due diligence.
Okay.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Councilwoman Farrell.
I vote aye.
Councilman Angel.
Aye.
Councilman Flaherty.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you. That's it.
All I got for you.
I have a couple items to discuss, which, first of all, the data committee has announced that they are not available on the 17th. Well, that was tonight. They were supposed to be here tonight. You're right. So they are available on the 24th. However, there is criminal court again on the 24th with Judge Tinsley. Right, so I'm not expecting them to be out of here in time. So my thought is, we were going to move them to May 2nd, to our regular monthly meeting. One of the gentlemen is not available on the 2nd. They're both available on the 24th. So my thought is to just host a meeting at the rec center on the 24th. Does that work for you guys?
Oh, next week, a week
Yes.
from tonight.
A week from tonight?
Yeah, it's fine.
Next Wednesday. Does that work?
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
So we'll post it in as many venues as we can. We've been told that
So-
PCNR is going at it.
I actually
I
just
heard that.
finally got official confirmation
Oh,
from
really?
that, from Doug Cunningham on Monday. He called to let me know.
When are they closing?
This
Today.
week was it.
Really?
This
This is the
paper.
last paper?
This is the last paper for the
Better go
public.
buy 100 of them. No.
Tonight.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I heard rumor that the other day, I didn't, last week, but I didn't know if it's actually true.
So, in the meantime, I have to speak to GABA to find out what the requirements, because that's our official paper technically for the town.
So we'll investigate that, but getting back to this, so we'll do it on the 24th at the Recreation Center, because I think it's important to get the, the data committee in here. I mean, I read off their statement last week. I did have some correspondence with HHFT, which wasn't the most pleasant exchange, but we settled on good terms. They understood my side of it. I understand their side of it. So it did work out well. So we'll reschedule for the 24th at the.
It is Passover. Do you think any people who would be participating might be celebrating Passover?
I don't know. You think so? I mean,
I don't know.
if that's not, if we can't do the 24th, we'll have to go into May, which, I mean,
It's fine, yeah.
what do you think? I mean,
Well, I'd like to get it over with, I think, right? I mean,
I mean, are
that's
we
my
expecting
opinion.
public participation?
I think we will have public participation. If you think that that's a holiday conflict, then we should avoid it.
Yeah, it is Passover.
Okay, then
What
let's,
holiday is that?
Passover.
Oh, it is.
all right, so let's shoot for, I'll reconvene with them and we'll schedule something for the month of May.
Month of May,
We'll get them in the
So,
month of May.
yeah, so I'll put that on the agenda for our May meeting,
For
to
our May
schedule
meeting.
something
There you
for
go.
May.
Perfect.
Okay.
In the meantime, I had 2 meetings this week in regards to HHFT, one with Linda Cooper and Megan Fitzgerald from New York State Parks. I met with myself, Mayor Foley, Mayor Winward. We had a frank, open discussion with State Parks, basically in regards to, the DGIS that's coming up, the release of the DGIS, the review time that we will have to make a statement to review it. The 3 executives, myself, Mayor Foley, Mayor Winward, have emailed and verbally expressed our opinion that we would like to see the trails stay out of the Village of Cold Spring. that the terminus of the trail be somewhere north of the village. And it goes, there's a lot to the official trail, as you all know. The trail is got a requirement that has to meet ADA requirements. It's 10 feet wide, and it would be physically hard for that trail to come into the village of Cold Spring without creating a huge change to the visual beauty of the beauty of the village itself from other angles and from the village residents looking out. If you were at the presentation at Duchess Manor, the section between Little Stony Point and Dockside was far above the railroad tracks. The trail is 5 feet above the track, the base of the trail, and then there's fencing on both sides that creates a screen. So my feeling, and it was from day one, I've said this from day one, it's home rule. The village of Cold Spring, at least the mayor's opinion, and I think it's followed throughout the village, or not with everybody, but I think it's a strong feeling. Started at, my thing is Little Stony Point, start at Little Stony Point, and do feeder trails from the train station, Fair Street, and as many alternatives as they can to get people smoothly through the village to the trail. Also, we asked them to promote the breakneck station. If you want to go on the Fjord Trail, go to the breakneck station and get off the new station that they're designing. So we did release a statement to them, and I will read it. And this was from the three of us. It says, "Thank you for talking with us on Monday via Zoom. As the executive officers of the neighboring municipalities of Philipstown, Cold Spring, and Nelsonville, we feel it is important that we document our strongly held and shared conviction relating to the planning of the Fjord Trail. Having the actual trail enter the village of Cold Spring by any route would irreversibly change the landscape, viewshed, and character of the village, as well as the experience of all Philipstowners who consider Cold Spring the heart of our town. The trail's necessary size, scale, and construction requirements, particularly to meet the accessibility goals identified by the HFT design team, would be outsized for our small residential village. The Fjord Trail is necessary to solve visitation management issues north of the village. However, the village itself must be understood and treated differently than the northern areas. Given what we have seen to date of the HHFT's planning and process, we believe that the trail in the village, and particularly the waterborne route under proposal, would become a tourist destination in and of itself and would result in an unbearable, unsustainable increase in visitor volume that no number of trash cans and toilets will offset. As village mayors and the town supervisor, we believe that simple residentially scaled pathways and sidewalks out of Cold Spring leading to a fjord entrance north of the village are far more appropriate to our historic, livable community. Such pathways and sidewalks will provide safe passage for residents as well as tourists heading to the trail's entrance. Further, these pathways and sidewalks should be constructed and/or upgraded and maintained by HHFT as a form of impact mitigation for the entire Philipstown community. We look to the New York State Parks in our role as lead agency in secret process to represent the public interest. And that was signed myself, Kathleen, and Chris Winward. So I'm just letting you know, I mean, it's not the opinion of the board, I understand that. At some point, I will look for the board support. That is the opinion of myself, Kathleen, and Chris. We did also meet with Metro North representatives today to discuss a possible access along the railroad tracks. And my opinion from that meeting today, that's not something that's going to happen because, they're looking at rising sea level. They're looking at having access to their tracks, to their rail. As they put it, they're in the business of moving trains, not, hiking and hikers. So they love the opportunity to support the trail if it's going to work for them, but their priority is the railroad and making it work. So I thought, a blacktop trail similar to what's between the southbound platform and the underpass, straight up, continuing straight up would be a great access or feeder path along with others. But from the sounds of things today, they have some major upgrades that they're doing by Mayor's Park. They need both sides of the track to do it. They need both rails operable. I just don't see there being any opportunity. And frankly, I don't see there being an opportunity for HHFT to put their trail along that section either, but.
With the flooding there that.
Yeah,
Mayor's
and
Park
you know,
is under-
there is some concern about the railroad having water access to their trails, and if HHFT's trail is there, it eliminates them from accessing the tracks from the river. You know, they,
From the, like the causeway you're talking about by Mayor's Park, that area.
well, the whole that whole
Well,
section.
They want to come in off the riverside.
Yeah, if they needed to bring in barges or any type of material, and, you know, they would not have that because, yeah, that, you know, the trail would eliminate it. So I thought, you know, a ground level, you know, just path that, you know, if it floods, it floods. But the engineers were on there today, they were describing, first of all, there's a lot of transmission wires underground that follow the tracks that need to be accessible. And there's also, just north of the village, there's, what do you call it, CP 50 tree, called CP 50 tree, which is some sort of switching building that they're planning on redoing in the next 5 years. And he said, we need access from both sides of the track. So I just don't see it happening. So I just wanted to keep you abreast of what's going on with the communication that the three of us have been meeting regularly with the railroad as well as parks. I'm still a supporter of the trail, certainly from Little Stony Point North. I think it's a wonderful addition to the community. It's there to solve an issue that has been long-lasting with not enough resources and too many people coming to the village. Did any of you attend the meeting the last meeting?
The last one I did not.
At Dutchess, right, you were there. I tried to follow the animation of the crowds on Main
Right.
Street.
Yeah.
It just didn't sit right with me. It just, and I'm interested to get the data committee's opinion on it. They've had the time to invest in it and the expertise to invest in it. But the numbers just didn't
Didn't add up to me either.
Didn't make sense to me, showing a reduction in tourists on the streets of Cold Spring in 2033 with the trail versus 2023. I mean, if you remember the May 8th meeting when they showed the one graph that I've stuck with,
Yeah, that was the most.
the continual.
You mean without the trail, just regardless, just the trajectory of
With or without,
visitors, with
right.
or without?
This is the number of
Yeah.
visitors from 2015 was an arrow like this.
Yeah.
And now the projected increase is like 4.2% that they released. So it just, I mean, don't quote me on the numbers, but it was lower than what I would have expected and the number of people. And I'm not sure if it's not factoring tourists beyond hikers, and it's just hikers, you know, but Orca is a nationwide renowned firm that does this for state parks, it does it for federal parks, it does it for all kinds of, and it, you know, I'm not in a position to question their ability, but it's just didn't make sense to me, somebody that's lived here their, entire life and seen the crowds. I mean, we've always had crowds, especially in the fall, we always, it always goes down, but those numbers just didn't seem to work. So I'm interested to hear what the data committee has to say and keep going. But Linda.
Just a question, John,
Yep.
I mean, before, they could still come in and do what they want, right? They have to, can the village say, we don't want this, and they gotta say, we're not coming? Can it be overwritten, overrode somehow?
Well, it's New York State Parks,
Yeah,
and
it's-
it's David and Goliath, really. I mean, I don't think that legally, I mean, I don't hope we don't have to go there, but, I don't see, if State Parks wants to do something and the governor is supporting it, it would be hard to resist. But, I mean, the railroad having say in it is important, and I think that's going to be a big determinant. I mean, without the railroad in this community, it's not this community, so.
Well, okay, I kinda thought they already had the buy-in from the railroad to do that alternate trail down there.
There is no permits, that's something else we learned today, thank you. There's been no permits issued south of Breakneck for this by the railroad. So,
Okay, that's good to know, because I would think, my assumption was they had everything ready to go and all the approvals to do, everything, you know, because like I said, that's basically a boardwalk they're building out there on the.
A lot of it is an elevated walkway. Yeah, a lot of it is an elevated walkway. And, I mean, rightfully so, it's going to be built for inundation. So the depiction was the base of the trail will be 5 feet above the rails, the current rails. So if you picture that, and then fencing on top of that, you know, it,
12 feet away from the tracks, right? Something like that?
25.
25 feet away from the
25 feet
tracks.
away from it has to maintain 25 feet. So, there's a lot to think about.
Oh, yeah, I'd tell you, if they ever did it, I don't think I'd be alive to see that section anyway, the way things are moving.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, we have cooperation with state parks. We have, you know, until this point, we've had cooperation with HHFT. We have a good rapport with the board. We met with
Totally agree.
Richard.
Yeah, no, just,
Kathleen and I and Chris and Nancy met with Richard a few weeks ago. We're gonna meet with Richard again. So I'm confident that we'll come up with a solution that the residents will be happy or comfortable. I mean, we're never gonna please everybody, but try to make people as comfortable as possible and try to eliminate or at least reduce the demand of the tourists on the community, so.
I don't think the number of tourists is gonna decline, no. Since I've lived here
Well,
over,
the
well over
number
20
of
years.
tourists, they're not predicting the number of tourists to decline, but the number of people on the streets of Cold Spring, they're seeing a decrease. And the reason is, I mean, and the animation showed it, many more people, instead of getting off the train in Cold Spring to hike, will get off the train in Breakneck. And the promotion of Duchess Manor as the hub will also draw people further up the line instead of trying to park in Cold Spring and/or take the train to Cold Spring and go to Breakneck or the trail system. It also showed C Street coming in, and so the numbers were based on, it was October 29th, 2023, which was Haldane Homecoming.
Oh,
It was
yeah, I remember that
it was Parents' Weekend at West Point, and it was the Halloween parade that day.
That's right.
So it was the first sunny Saturday in like 7 weeks, and it was fall. So there was a lot of people, and I don't think the amount of people that they had on that animation was accurate either, because I literally parked at the church, Our Lady of the Red Oak Church, don't tell the father, I'm illegally parked. And then I walked to Main Street to buy a pair of sunglasses at noon that day. So, because I remember I was going to the game, so there were so many people on Fair Street, I walked in the road because both sidewalks were, and it didn't show, but whatever. So, you know, they're basing it on, but then it shows it October of 2033 with the trail, shows more people again, and then without the trail, with the trail, it drops dramatically because of the resources pulling people more, which makes sense. But, you know, it also showed C Street pulling in, and instead of the people coming up Main Street, going down Fair Street, they're going directly from the dock along in front of Moo Moo's, which is West Street, I believe, straight over the dockside and getting on the trail. So they'll never see, they're only gonna see that one neighborhood, which people live in that neighborhood. So-
I kind of think the people who come up on the C Street really aren't going to be hikers, because they only have a finite, they have 4
From my
hours to be
office,
here.
Most
That's
of them
not,
were not hikers.
no,
yeah.
but they don't really have time for it.
Right, they're basing it on, right, that's a good point, they're not here long. They're basing it on, you know, they pulled people aside and they asked them questions. You know, they surveyed, so, and the guy that did a lot of the survey, wonderful guy, he spoke, you know, really well at Duchess Manor. He said, look, I did a lot of it myself, I had my clipboard, I was pulling people. So, I mean, there's some truth in it, obviously, but the numbers just didn't make sense to me. So, again, I'm looking forward to hearing what our committee has to say, so. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, I've got a quick thing, which is Martha learned that to earmark some of that climate smart money for the solar stuff. We just have to get a estimate from a contractor on what some of these town sites could cost. It's not a bid for work, but it's an estimate we can then give the state. Anybody have any problem with that? Because it's a June 1st deadline, so we would have to find a
I gave her a quote already for the town garage, a long time ago.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm almost 100% positive I gave everything about the town garage quote to Martha a while ago.
You got so I'll ask her that. If that counts, we'll use it. If not, and we need to get another one.
Community solar programs, like a larger solar field or strictly like?
I don't think this will include the landfill because that's just too much of a beast, and it's too. But it would include like the highway garage. But if you have that one, then it could include. Remember we talked about the area behind the highway garage as a canopy, just those other sites, and they would just do an initial estimate, which could at least earmark the money in the state.
If you want to go ahead, or one of you can.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but if she doesn't have it, let me know, but I'm almost positive I sent it to her.
Okay. All right.
If we need
For the
others,
hi-
maybe
for the
we
highway.
can look some more.
Yeah, and that's fine with her. I mean, it's just
I
a
have no
it's a
issue.
no cost estimate. Yeah. Okay.
That's the key.
Yeah, it's not.
And Jason and I will be emptying food scraps at the Garrison School next Tuesday after lunch
Bring it
for
close.
education. And Bob will be opening Lane Gate up, right? So you can bring them up there.
Bob told us we should bring the food scraps to your house. And you do the
My dog will have a bowl.
on your board.
No, not yet. All right, anything else?
You should wait till the hours.
Thank you.
All right, good. Have a good evening. Oh, we got a motion to adjourn? Motion
So
adjourn?
moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Good night.
Aye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.